Bez Hashem, today's daf is Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Ayin Ches, number 78. And we're going to begin from Daf Ayin Zayin Amid Beis, about 4 lines from the bottom. This is where we left off. V'amar Papa, okay? The Gemara says like this. V'amar Papa. Papa says, Zorak Tzroi Lamala. Let's do it from this one. Amar Papa said, Taiman de Chaftei lechavrei. We're discussing what is called murdering somebody. So a man, if a person ties his friend, v'ashkel aliyei bitka demaya, and then opens a powerful stream of water to wash over the person you tied down. So for some reason you tied somebody down, and then you opened up a wall in the bank of the river, and the water starts rushing over the person that you tied down. So there you're considered a murderer. Umechayev. Gire didei, it's your strength, your power, your throw. Umechayev, and therefore you're held liable. Says the Gemara, but Hani Mili, that's only said b'koyach rishon, if you're the primary force. Aval b'koyach sheni, if you're a secondary force, grama ba'almahu, it's just the cause of death. But if the water, let's say, ricocheted or bounced off another direction and then eventually reached to the person that was tied down, so yes, I mean, you murdered the person, but you're not considered the koyach rishon, the primary force. You killed him by causing his death. And grama ba'alma, and you caused his death, so therefore, Bezdin, our Bezdin, the Bezdin of a human court, will not be able to hold that person liable. The Amar Papa said, Zarak tzror lamala, man threw a rock upwards, and it went off to the side, and then dropped down in another area, and it killed somebody, chayev. Now, what the Gemara is trying to say is, if you throw a rock straight up, then it comes straight back down. So what's causing it to come back straight back down? That's the force of gravity. That's not your force, it's the force of gravity. So therefore, you're not considered as if you killed somebody. But if you threw the rock straight up, and somehow the force, it didn't go straight down, it went through the side. So because of that, it's part gravity that's falling down, but it's also part of your original force. And therefore, you're going to be held liable. It's almost as if you threw the rock straight at the person. So again, Zarak Tzroy Lamal, you threw the rock above. It went sideways. V'hargan, it killed somebody. Chayev, you held liable. Amalei Ma'abar Avashi Papa. So Ma'abar Avashi asked Papa, my tama, what's the reason if it goes to the side? Mishum dekaichahu, because it's your power that killed the person. Ikaichai, if it's your power, tezel el, then it should have gone straight upwards, continue upwards. The lav kaichai, if it's not considered your power, tezel etachas, then it should go down. It should have fell right to the bottom and not to the side. So the Gemara says, Ella koyach kochush hu. That's what it means. It's a weakened type of force. So it's not your strength because it's actually going down. So it's actually gravity that's pulling it down. But it's still going a little bit according to your power, because if you didn't have any power behind it, then it would have fell straight down. The fact that it's going off to the side must be that it was partly your throw, and therefore you're going to be held liable. Okay, let's go to a famous Gemara. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. Hiko asura b'nei adam b'asura maklis v'mesim. They 10 people gathered around a guy, a victim, and they all took a whack at him with 10 different sticks. V'mesim, the person died. Bein b'vasachas, bein b'zeh, whether he died when they all took a whack at him at one time, or they took a whack at him one after another. And the number 10, the guy that took number 10, gave him the final blow. So even though the final blow came through number 10, and that really caused his life, but prior to that, let's say after number 9, this was already a dying person, because he took 9 blows from 9 separate people. So therefore, Peturim, they're all exempt from the death penalty. Okay, so that's the opinion of that is the opinion of the Tanakh. Comes along Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira, and he says, Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira, if it's 9 people, then the 10th person gave the final blow, the final whack, ha'acharon chayav. The last person is considered to be held liable. Why? Shekirab es misasai, because he brought closer the death. In other words, yes, I agree that after 9 blows, 9 real death blows, this person is the victim is on his deathbed, basically, is a dying person. But who is the one that gave him the final knockout blow that took away his life? The person number 10. So therefore, the number 10th person, he's going to be held liable, and he's liable for the death penalty. Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, Ushnehem mikra echad darshu. They both darshan. They both tried to understand one pasuk. The pasuk says, "V'ish kiyake kol nefesh adam moisumas." Okay, if a person killed somebody, the entire life of a person, you kill that person. What does the word kol mean? So Rabbanan hold kol nefesh means the entire soul of a person. So adika kol nefesh. You're only considered a murderer only if you killed a person from his that was holding on to his entire life. A regular, healthy person, guy takes out a gun and shoots him. So then you killed the entire soul of that person. But in our case, when 9 people took a whack at a person, so already his soul left him. So he didn't have his entire soul there. So what did the 10th guy do? He just gave the final blow. So therefore, he's not held liable because he only considered a murderer if you took away his entire soul or all of his soul. But in this case, his soul was already taken away from his body because of the 9 people prior. Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira holds, kol nefesh means, the word kol doesn't mean all, his entire soul. Kol nefesh means any nefesh, anything that's left of his soul, kol dehu nefesh, anything left of this person's soul, that is considered to be, that is considered to be the murderer. Only thing. And therefore, even if Yehuda ben Meseira would agree that if 10 people whacked him at the same time, so then you don't give the death penalty because it says v'ish kol yake nefesh adam. If only one killed the person, then you are considered a murderer. But if 10 people took a whack at the same time, even Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira will hold that they're not all 10 murderers. You can't have 10 murderers doing the same thing at the same time. However, when 9 did a whack prior, 9 people hit him first, and then there's nothing left of his soul except a little part, Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira holds that 10th guy is considered a murderer because he killed somebody who had a little part of his soul left in him. Amar Rava, so Rava comes along and said, Hakoil Maidim, everybody agrees. Hakol Maidim, everybody agrees. As a treifa, if you killed somebody who, let's say, has internal bleeding, let's say a guy is a treifa, he has internal bleeding, he's about to die anyway. Shu potter. Of course, you're a potter because even without you killing him, he's going to die anyway in a couple of hours. Begoisis bidei shemayim shuchayev. If a guy is dying because he's he's sick, heaven made him sick, you definitely can't kill him if he's in the hospital bed and he's just plain sick and a dying patient. If you kill him, you're considered liable because, first of all, he's not guaranteed to die. He could get healthy. Like Nechlaku, the only argument is Elabegoisis b'dei odam. If a man became a dying person because he took blows from other human beings, so he took 9 blows from 9 different human beings, and now the 10th guy gives him the 10th and final knockout blow, basically. So Marsa Madame Le Treifa. Chachamim compare him to a treifa, and therefore you're not exempt. It's as if you killed somebody had internal bleeding, so you're not considered a murderer. Omar, Rabbi Yehuda ben Seira, he considers him as if somebody killing a person in his hospital bed, and because of that, you're going to be held liable. So the Gemara explains, the one that compares him to a treifa, in other words, the chachamim, and because of that, therefore, they interpret the person ish kol yaket kol nefesh means if you have to kill the entire soul. Why don't they compare this case to a goisis b'dei shemaim, a dying person by heaven? So the answer is very simple. Goisis b'dei shemaim, a person dying in his hospital bed, that's considered murderer because lo yisavid b'maisa, nothing, action from human beings did something to him. He's just dying because he has a sickness. Therefore, if you kill him, you're a murderer. But this case is avid beid maisa. It's not natural. Already, because of the death blows of the 9 other people, already action happened to this person. So his soul left him. So he's more considered like a treifa, like a person with, like, say, internal bleeding that's going to die very fast. So therefore, that's not considered murder. Oman, but Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir says, "The medami lo legoisis b'dei shemayim, my time lo medami treifa." Why does Rabbi Yehuda compare him to killing a treifa? Why does he say that no? It's like killing somebody in the hospital bed. So the answer is treifa mechatche smonim. It's all 100% he's going to die because if he has internal bleeding, let's say his trachea is ruptured, so then certainly he's going to die. It's 100%. So therefore, all of his soul is not there anymore. But this case, even if he received 10 blows from different people, his vitals were not whacked. And because of that, it's just somehow he doesn't have his 100% soul, but whatever he has left is 100% him. And therefore, you killed him. So, Tana Kamed Rav Sheshes taught a brisa. Ish kiyaka kol nefesh adam. If you kill anybody, lahavi hamakas chaveir bein by kadela amas. Somebody else hit him. Let's say slapped him across the face. Uva achen, the second guy came, v'hamisa, and killed him. Shu chayev. Then the second guy is considered chayev. He's liable. So the Gemara says, "Ein by kadela hamas pshita." If the first guy only hit him enough, like a little slap, so of course the second guy is considered liable. Ella, you have to read the brisa like this way: Yesh boy kedei lahamus. One guy gave him a death blow that just by that alone he could have died. But the second guy came and hastened his death by giving him another death blow. Shuchayev, the second guy is considered liable. Ustama, and this goes according to Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir, like Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir's opinion. So you got to remember this because this is one of the famous Gemaras. Again, if 10 people took a death blow whack at a person, and the 9 did it first, and then the 10th guy gave him another whack, so the 10th guy, according to Chachamim, is exempt. And Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir says the 10th guy is considered liable. Okay, now we go into other Gemaras. The Gemara continues and says like this. Amar Rava said, "Ha'hayrig es a treifa potter." Someone kills a dead man, let's say a guy with internal bleeding, you potter. Utreifa shahareg, but if a treifa, he killed somebody, a guy with internal bleeding killed somebody else, so bifnei bezdin, if he killed him in front of bezdin, so then chayev, he's liable. Shloi bifnei bezdin, if he didn't do it in front of the courthouse, potter. Bifnei bezdin chayev diksiv yato b'ra mikibercha. Bifnei bezdin, he's chayev because the Torah says you got to get rid of the evil. He's a murderer. But shloi bifnei bezdin, if the treifa killed somebody away from bezdin, so now they have to bring witnesses to put the treifa, this treifa person, the person with internal bleeding, let's say, on trial. It's potter. And witnesses that you cannot put on mazim, it's not considered witnesses because the witnesses that are going to testify against the treifa, If they, how are you? What incentivizes them for not testifying falsely? Is because at any time they could be muzam. They can some other edis could be mazim them, but the truth is they can never be mazim because their whole intention is to kill a treifa, right? They're putting a treifa on trial, and therefore, what are you going to do if they found as edim zayimim? You won't be able to kill them because they're healthy people and they only wanted to kill a treifa person. So because of that, therefore, their witnesses is not witnesses. So you can't bring witnesses against a treifa. Therefore, Rava said, treifa shaharag, a treifa that killed another person, if he did it outside the court, then it's potter. V'yama Rava said, harayveya as a treifa, a person sodomized a treifa, a dead, a person, a man, human with internal bleeding. Chayiv yechayiv, treifa sharag, but if the treifa sodomize somebody else, bifnei bezin chayev, shloi bifnei bezin potter, bifnei bezin chayev diksiv, the outer Rabbi Kibarcha. If he did it in front of Bezdin, he sodomized another human being in front of Bezdin, then you got to put him to death. Shloi bifnei bezin, if he did it outside the court, potter, then it's potter to have a law edishi e otter yachal hazimai, because it's edis that you cannot put the edim to say witnesses against the treifa that did something like that. Treifa sharava, a treifa that sodomized Bezdin. Because, again, it's a gaydis that you cannot be mazin. Says Gemara Hatu Lamali, why do you need this second case? It's the same idea. A treifa that killed somebody or treifa that sodomized somebody. And Hainuhach, isn't that the same idea? And says the Gemara, Roiveyas a treifa itzrachalei. I need that to tell me. Mao, the same, I would have thought if a person sodomizes a treifa, it's like you sodomize a dead human being. Vili potter, and you should be held exempt. Kamash malam, the mishum hanohu. The whole reason why the Torah put somebody to death for sodomizing somebody, another male, is because the sodomizer is having enjoyment out of it. And he still has enjoyment out of that, and because of that, he's considered as violating the Avera of Mishkav Zachar. The Yama Rava, and Rava said, Eidim she'idu b'treifa, witnesses that said testimony on a treifa, v'huzmu, and they became Eidim Zaymimim, so the Eidim wanted to kill this treifa person. So then, Einin Aragana, like we said before, you won't kill the Eidim because they're only trying to kill somebody who's going to die anyway. Eidim treifa shuzmu, but if the Eidim of treifa they became muzam, nerag, and they get killed because they're trying to kill a very normal human being. So the Ravash Yama, afila edi treifa shuz ve'einin neragin, even edi treifa that became muzam, they wouldn't get killed. Why? Because a third set would not be able to be mazim, not be able to mazim the edim that will mazim the edi treifa. Because if the Eidi Treifa are peer Eidis number one, then normal healthy people are Eidim number two. According to Ravashi, a third Eidim cannot be Mazim, the second pair of Eidim, because the second pair of Eidim only wanted to kill Treifas, Eidim Treifa. And therefore, since can't take it to the next derivative, Ravashi holds Eidi Treifa Shehuzmu Neheragim, they won't be killed. They won't Ein Neheragim, they will not be killed. V'yama Rava said, Shar treifa shaharag chayiv. A treifa shar, a shar that was going to die anyway, it killed another human being. Now, a healthy shar that kills a human being gets killed. But this ox that killed another human being, even if it's a treifa, you would kill the ox because that's fine. V'shar shal adam treifa shaharag, but here's the chiddush. You have a human being. That's a treifa human being. He owns an ox. And that ox kills another human being, potter, that ox is not liable. You don't kill the ox in that case. My tama, what's the reason? On Makra, the pasuk says, "Ashor yisokel v'gam ba'ol of yumas." When you stone the ox, you kill the owner. Really, we don't kill the owner. He pays a koifer, but kol hecha the krimin bay the gambal of yumas. When you could potentially kill the owner, karina bay ashar yisakel, then you stone the ox. Kol hecha the krimin bay the gambal of yumas. Wherever you can't kill the owner, like karina bay hashar sakel, then you don't do stoning the ox. And here, shar shal adam treifa, the treifa is already he's like a dead man walking, and therefore he's like a dead man that owns an ox. So the dead man that owns an ox that killed another human being, you would not kill the ox. Ravashi says, Afil treifa nami shaharet pata. He holds that even if the ox himself, that human was healthy, the owner was a healthy guy, but the ox was a treifa ox that was going to die anyway, that killed another human being, you will not kill the ox. Why? My tama, kivin the ilu balim have a patiri sharnami pata. Since if the owner was around, he would have been exempt from death penalty. So therefore, the shar nami pot, since if the owner would have been a treifa, it would have been exempt. The ox would have been exempt from the death penalty. So now that the shar is the treifa and the owner is healthy, the shar is still exempt from the death penalty. New Gemara. Shisha by Kaleva. The Mishnah said right before the Mishnah said yesterday that if you take a snake and stab the fangs, take the head of the snake and stab the fangs into somebody else, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you kill that other person. Obviously, the guy got poisoned and died. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, that's using like a knife to kill somebody. Chachamim say you potter. Now the Chachamim need explanation. So Amar Rav Acha bar Rav Yaakov, Kishatim Sulaim l'div Rabbi Yehuda, Eres Nachash ben Shinev hu Oimid. The poison of a snake is right by its teeth. So therefore, makish. So the person that took the head of the snake and dug the fangs into somebody else, makish, the guy that did that, b'sayif, you should kill him because he's a murderer. V'nachash, but the snake, potter from the death penalty. The snake didn't do anything because the poison was already on its teeth. The divrei chachamim, but according to the chachamim, eres nachash me'atzmehu meki. It regurgitates its poison. The poison's not readily available. So first you stab a person. Then what made the person die? Because later, like a second later, the poison came up and exited through the teeth into the person. So it's not really that that person that stabbed his friend with the fangs of a snake is considered a murderer. Therefore, the nachash gets the skila, because it's the animal, the snake killed somebody. V'hamakish, the one that stuck the fangs of the snake into somebody else's body, is potter, is exempt. Says the Mishnah, Hamakas chaveira bein be'egreif. Somebody who hits his friend with a brick or a stone or the egreif is usually translated as a fist, but it could also mean like a brick. V'amdu lamisa. And they estimated that this guy that got the victim is going to die. And then all of a sudden, the hekel mimashahoya, and all of a sudden it lightened up. In other words, we see that he's getting better. They made another estimation, and they said, "Oh, the original whack wasn't going to kill that person." Okay, and then l'achamikan, and then afterwards hichbet v'meis. Then he fell back, and the person died. So chayev, the chachamim say that you're liable because the fact that the bezdin said that the person's going to live, they got it wrong because he wasn't walking around in the street. He just had it. It looked like it was easier for him. Hekel miyah. It got lighter for him, but they got it wrong. So the original estimation of that he was going to die was correct, and therefore the person that did the whack is considered liable. Because if you whack somebody and the guy dies a week later, you can still consider the person's considered a murderer. So here he had a lightening up of his condition, even though they said that he's going to live, they got it wrong, and therefore he's held liable. But Nechemia says, Potter, you're not held liable. Shuraglayim ledavar, because we have proof that the guy, if he was going to straight die, then he wouldn't have a lighten up of his situation. The fact that it lightened up a little bit proves that that original whack wasn't going to kill him, and he died from other causes. Tanu Rabban, the rabbis taught, Ezu Darish Nechemia. Rabbi Nechemia interpreted the pasuk this way. The pasuk says if he hits somebody, if he walks and can walk outside and leaves the hospital al mishante with his koyach, v'nika hamaka, then don't kill the person that whacked him. We go to Amid Beis. You don't have to kill the person that whacked him. All he has to do is pay for the doctor bills and for the damages. So the Gemara asks, Rabbi Nechemia asks, he says, "Chazalel da'atakot shohay mahalach b'shuk b'zen hareg." What does the Torah have to say that the guy that did the whack is innocent from the death penalty? Well, the guy that he hit is walking around on the street. So why would I kill the person that did the whack? Ella, it's the pasuk something along telling you something else. They originally estimated the person's going to die. And then it lightened up, and then they estimated that he was going to live. And then all of a sudden it became more severe, and the person died. So the middle estimation was wrong. The second estimation was wrong. The original estimation of Shamdu Lamisa was correct. Nevertheless, Shu Pata Yapata, because it turns out the fact that it was Hekel Mimashahoya, it got lighter, turns out that the second estimation was more correct, that he was Amdu Lachayim. He died for other reasons. So, but Rabbanan say no, the first estimation is correct, and that person will get the death penalty because even though it was Hekel Mimashahoya, still the guy died. So therefore, he's going to get the death penalty. Another 2 minutes, and then we'll stop. Says the Gemara, what did you do with Vanika Hamaka? That the person's innocent. What does he mean he's innocent? Of course, the person didn't die. According to Rabbanan, the guy got hit, and now he's walking around. All the guy that did the hitting has to pay for damages, and the person that did the damage is innocent. What does that mean? Malamed, this teaches you a concept. You put the guy in jail. A person gave a whack to somebody, and it was estimated that the guy is going to die. So you don't let him get away. You put him in jail, and then if the guy dies, then you give him the death penalty. Here, if the guy did not die and now is walking on the street, then you release him from the jail. And that's what the Chumash is saying, that there is a concept of jail. So that was the Rabbanan's opinion. From Nechemia, Chavisha Menolein, where in the Jewish world is there a concept of putting somebody in jail? And says the Gemara, Yolef Lemi Mekaishish. You learn it from the Mekaishish. The Mekaishish was somebody who was Machal Shabbos, and there the Chumash says they put somebody in jail. So V'Rabbananami Lilfimi Mekaishish. Let's learn it from Mekaishish, that the concept of jail. And says the Gemara, you can't learn the concept of jail. Mekaishish Barka Tolahu. The Kaishish, everybody knew Machal Shabbos was going to get the death penalty. Moshe didn't know what Misa the person's supposed to get. Therefore, they put him in jail. But that was by the Mechal Shabbos. But what happens if you don't know if the person's going to get the death penalty? Because you don't know if he's a murderer or not. How do you know you put somebody like that in jail? So the Gemara says like this: La puke hide lo yadini bakatol. We exclude maybe in that we don't know a person is getting the death penalty. Ila bakatol. If he's not getting the death penalty, you don't know. You put a guy in jail. That's why the Chacham need Vanika Hamaka to tell you that in such a case you would put the guy in jail. It concludes the Gemara, Rab Nechemia. Where does Rab Nechemia know the concept of jail? Yalav mi Megadev. We learned it from the person that sort of blessed or cursed the Eibishter, so to speak. There, the Torah says they also put him in jail. And they didn't even know that he got the death penalty. They knew the guy did something terrible, but they didn't know if he was going to get the death penalty. And yet they put him in jail. They don't know if he was going to get the death penalty, and they put him in jail. That's Rab Nechemia's source of jail. Rabbanam, Megadif Harashahaisa. Megadif was a one-time thing. It's not doesn't teach you regarding other people, and you wouldn't know by the person who gave the death blow. Would you put him in jail? Megadif, they put him in jail because it was a one-time Moshe Rabbeinu's idea, but it was not a mitzvah. The time, like we learned in the Brisa, we're going to finish over here. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that the Mekaishish gets Misa. He didn't know how you're supposed to kill. He didn't know. He knew he did. He knew that the Mechal Shabbos is supposed to get Misa, but he didn't know what Misa he was supposed to get. Ava Megadef, Moshe Rabbeinu, the guy that the story of the Megadef in the Chumash, Leinemaboy, Ella Lifroish Lehem Al Pi Hashem. Moshe had to separate him side. Shloi Hoya Moshe Yadeim, who ben Misa Kolika Lav. He didn't know if he gets the death penalty or not. Perhaps in that case, you put him in jail. But here, the Reitzeach, if he turns out to be a Reitzeach, he's sure going to get the death penalty. You just don't know if he's a Reitzeach or not, so maybe you don't put him in jail. That's why The Chachamim need v'nika hamaka to tell me even in such a case you put a person in jail. Nevertheless, Reb Nechemia would learn it from Megadev. Okay, so we'll continue with this tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem.
Shkaya, thank you.
Concludes the Gemara. Bishlamu Reb Nechemia haini deksivi trei umdane. That's why, according to Reb Nechemia, the two times in the pasuk says v'nika hamake, which means that you estimate and see, wait, maybe we got it wrong. Our first estimation was incorrect, because that's coming to tell you v'nika hamaka means that they estimated him again that he was going to live. You see that he lightened up. And then the pasuk v'lo yamus is extra. So therefore, we have two times chad la'amdu lemisa, v'chad la'amdu l'chaya. They estimated that he was going to die, and then he lived, So if he totally lived, started to walk out on the street, so yakum is halech bachutz. So that's one estimation, that all of a sudden he got a death blow, and then now all of a sudden he's walking outside. So now for sure we know he's going to live. V'chad, in another case, v'nika hamake means amdu lemisa. They first originally said he was going to die. The heikel mimasha, and then it lightened up, and then again he died. So therefore you're potter, because it was a heikel mimasha hoya. El Rabban, according to Rabban, heikel masha hoya really means that he's then you're going to die anyway. That means you're going to get the death penalty. Trei umdani lamali. In other words, why does the pasuk say it twice? V'nika hamake, and also im yakum is halak b'chutz. And says the Gemara, chad lemisa v'chay. One tells you that you're not liable if they estimated that he was going to die and he lived. V'chad amdu l'chayim, if they estimated that he was going to live, right? And then all of a sudden, v'meis, he died. In that case, since they recognize that the original blow wasn't a death blow, he's not going to be put to death. Reb Nechemia, amdu l'chayim v'meis, if they estimated that he was going to live, and then he ended up dying anyway, like tzarach ra, of course I don't need a pasuk that you didn't do anything wrong. So harayotza mi bezdin zakai, he went out a bezdin innocent. He went out of bezdin innocent because there was amdu l'chayim. There's no reason that I would have a pre-thought that you put him to death. So that's how the Rabbanan and Reb Nechemia square off the pasuk. Okay, we're going to stop over here.